Welcome back to the final episode of Cosplay Competitions. Today we're going to be talking about what happens after the competition, whether you've placed or not. For all the previous videos on this series, you can find them with the link down below. But I will also be releasing one big video containing everything very soon. But for now, let's get into it. Now the competition's over. Is that it? Well, if you enjoyed this experience and it's something you think you'd want to do again, go ask the judges for feedback. Keep in mind, not all judges will want to do this, but a lot of us are more than happy to help out. However, I will blanket this with a disclaimer. Do not go and get feedback from the judges if it's going to make you upset with them. If you think you can't handle constructive criticism, then please do not go to the judges for feedback. It is not necessary, you do not need feedback, but feedback can help you grow and improve. It's always good to have an experienced eye go over your costume and point out the parts that you can improve on. Even if it isn't something that you can improve on this already made costume, it is something that you can remember to do for your next costume. We learn more by failure than we do succeeding. And I'm not gonna lie to you, feedback can hurt. Hell, when I won with Bennett, I went to the judges for feedback anyway because I knew my craftsmanship level is not where I want it to be yet. They gave me some great feedback on what I could do to improve my costume, and it still hurt and I still found myself getting defensive. And I'd won. At the end of the day, you just need to take a step back and try to think about things critically, especially from a judge's perspective. As harsh as it sounds, the judges are there to look at what is impressive in your costume and find the faults. They are just doing their job, and it is a very, very hard job to do. Sometimes the tiniest thing can make a difference between placing and not, so having as much knowledge as possible can really benefit you in future competitions. I personally do not like to give feedback via DMs after the competition, so if anyone's been judged by me, please come to me after the competition in the costume you are wearing so that I can visualize it and see it and point it out. Otherwise, I'll be unable to do so. It's also really hard to get across what I'm trying to say in the written text, and it can feel a lot harsher in written text than it can in person. And I'm not out here trying to upset anybody, I just want to help. The same goes for all judges. But let's say you've won a competition. Now I'm going to talk to you about something called sandbagging. Sandbagging is basically when you win a competition with that costume and then you take that costume and enter it in multiple competitions to keep winning again and again and again, all with the same award-winning costume. I think sandbagging is a nicer way of saying dick move, basically. In my opinion, if you win a competition, you're more than okay to enter that costume into, say, an international competition where it's a different level. By international competitions here, I mean like selectionals. There'll be certain competitions held in each country, and if you win the one in your country, you can then go on to be a representative for your country at another convention where all the winners from all over the world all go and compete with their winning costumes. That's fine. Again, this is just my opinion. But say, for example, you won that international selectionals with the costume, and then you take that costume and enter it in like a small local convention. Kind of feels a little sandbaggy to me. Decide what works best for you and go from there, but keep in mind other people's feelings as you do so. Going back to Bennett, he won I-69 and was a runner-up in ECG, so I have officially retired him now from competitions. To wrap all of this up nicely, here's an extra little tip that is often overlooked. Follow crafting accounts on social media. There are loads of creators out there that sole focus is showing you how they make things. You can learn so much just from looking at their photos or if they make any mini tutorials. Very, very handy. But lastly, I'm going to get to the FAQs. But lastly, I asked on my Instagram, what questions do you have about cosplay competitions? Most of them I covered in this video series. But here are two that I would love to answer that I feel aren't talked about enough in the community. Question 1. Do judges prefer big, fancy, complicated costumes like armor and dresses? Well, here's the thing. The audience tend to prefer that. But judges are always looking at quality over size. It's not about how big it is, it's about what you do with it. If you saw a really big, impressive armor or ball gown from the audience, you might be like, whoa, yeah, that's incredible. Oh, screw all the other ones, this guy's clearly won, right? But the judges will get to see it up close. They'll get to see the build book. They'll get to see all of the little intricate things on how it was made. If this guy didn't prime his armor, there is no sanding or anything like that, or it's just foam armor, there's nothing else, even the undersuit they just bought, then it's not going to get as many points. It's that simple. Same for things like dresses. It's not the size of the costume or how impressive it looks due to that. It's about how cleanly and how professionally everything is done. And question number 2. Can you enter a gender bend OC or own design of an existing character? Yeah, go for it. There's no reason you can't. However, I will say reference pictures are a huge part of cosplay competitions. Most of the time with cosplay competitions as judges, we are looking at reference pictures. So if you are making this out of your head, we have nothing to go off to judge you against. Some cosplay competitions also have cosplay accuracy as a percentage. So if you don't give us a reference picture for us to work off whether your costume's accurate or not, especially if it's an original design, we just can't give you points for that. It's honestly something that's really hard to judge. So can you do it? Absolutely, of course you can. Would I recommend it? You very rarely see OCs win cosplay competitions, and a large chunk of that is because you never know as a judge whether the reference picture was drawn after the costume was finished. It can be really finicky. I have seen gender bends win before. We've judged one and had them win. It was a bleach one. It was incredible. The costumes were just spectacular. But yeah, just play it by ear and make sure that you do it incredibly well and have reference pictures, and you should be absolutely fine. But yeah, that about wraps it up for my series. I really hope that this series was informative and helped you. Please feel free to share it with anyone who's thinking about entering a cosplay competition to help them. And if you've been here from the beginning to the end, then wow, thanks very much. Make sure to leave some likes, some comments, and subscribe if you aren't already. I hope to see you all in the next video that I do. Bye guys.